Touchdown glories, stadiums ringing. Peach State pride, gold medallion glowing. Thrones a swish, ice tray showing. Ring within reach, brace for blast. Riding through the city, we built to last.
All right, everybody. You know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Show coming up right now. Bam. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show as we are broadcasting to you live from our title sponsor, Allen Vigil Ford and Lincoln. Very appreciative to Mr. Vigil for being our sponsor. I think this is the fifth year that he has sponsored high school football. So we're thankful to him. And also, I'm employed here at the dealership. So if you need a car for yourself or a family member, we would love to support you in any way possible and help you get into a nice new car. So again, check us out, Allen Vigil Ford and Lincoln. Speaking of checking us out, remember you can follow us anywhere on social media at Real Talk Sports, the number 7. So follow us, like I said, anywhere on social media. And Real Talk Sports 7, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all alike. You can follow us right there, folks. So we appreciate you if you want to tune in and check us out. All right, we gotta keep it brief because it is a Saturday, and we know it's Saturday morning. People want to get in and out. You got Christmas shopping to do, so we're gonna get right to it. Lots of great sports stuff going on. And to help me on the broadcast, we have a gentleman that is well known here in the Clayton County area, and I would say even around the country. Does a great job with his student athlete playbook. And it is a guideline for young people to be able to excel outside the lines of sports. I'm talking about the one and only Mr. Barry Brown.
Hey, good morning, sir. How you
Good
doing?
morning, sir. How you be, sir?
Hey, man, I'm doing great, man. It's cold outside, but it's warm inside. So thanks be to God, man, for shelter, brother, at this time of the year. Yes, sir.
Hey, listen, sir. It is no joke. We have a little problem with our heat back at the house. The heat is doing its own thing in terms of there's something wrong with the thermostat. And so, consequently, what happens is that when you put the thermostat on, good news, the heat comes on piping, full blast. Okay. Bad news is that because the thermostat registers off of the downstairs, the downstairs is running right now when we turn the heat on every bit of 10 to 12 degrees cooler than upstairs.
Oh, wow.
So what it means is that, the downstairs, to get it to a comfortable temperature upstairs, you're like in the Bahamas.
Okay,
but,
y'all tropical. Y'all tropical over there in the winter.
Tropical situation, yes, sir. But you know what? Here's what I'm gonna tell people. At the end of the day, I don't care because I'd rather have heat than not have heat. So I mean, it's
absolutely
it's all good, man. It's all good. We got no problem with that. But look, Barry, it is we're right in the middle of football season, right in the middle of course, all that's going on with college football, with high school football, and before we go any further, Georgia here has now become the hotbed of high school football. What do you think about these two games with four of the best teams in the state clashing? I'm talking about on Wednesday night, we had a probably to me one of the best halves of high school football I've ever seen in terms of Langston Hughes, who won the Class 6A 2 years ago against one of the best teams in the country. I think they're ranked number 3 overall in the country, Milton from up north in the Roswell area, 42-35 at the half. And Milton goes on to win that game. I believe it was 56-35 final. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, man. Well, first of all, as always, thank you for allowing me to be on the show, man, and asking me to be a part of the show. I really appreciate it. Have a lot of fun doing it, man.
No doubt.
Man, Milton, Langston Hughes. First of all, Milton building that program. They used to be listen, they used to get kicked around so much. Nobody even knew where Milton was,
right.
Other than that great golf course they got up there.
Right.
Other than that, nobody knew anything about Milton. They built a tremendous program up there. They're getting players in there that are outstanding. The freshman quarterback, I think it's Nichols or Eccles.
Nichols, yep. Nichols, that's him. Yep.
Man, that young man is outstanding. I look forward to seeing him play on Saturdays coming up. And he looked like he had some potential to play on Sundays too. Very great development from that young man, from a freshman to this senior, and got him poised. Now on the Langston Hughes side, man, I know Coach Boone, man. We do a lot of work in the South Fulton High Schools area. So shout out to all the South Fulton High Schools from Creekside over to Tri-Cities, Banneker, all of Westlake, of course. Hey, Jonathan, Langston Hughes has built a powerhouse program out there, but they ran into a true national power when they were going blow for blow with them, because I really didn't understand or really know how they were going to match up with Milton. I knew what Milton had, and I knew Langston Hughes had the fastest young man in the country, Gleaton over there, Langston, the 100 national champion, the 200 national champion. But when you start talking about an entire team that was built to win state championships like Milton, they ran into a brick wall, and that's what happened. The first half, like you said, something I've never seen before. I played in the state championship game. I actually won, was a part of a team that won a state championship,
that's right. Yep.
21-0 over at Terra Stadium. So shout out to those 1987 Morrow Mustangs. But hey, I've never seen a half of high school football, especially in the state championship game, what I saw the other night. Blow for blow, Langston Hughes going toe for toe with the number 3 ranked team in the country. And then you saw why they're the number 3 ranked team in the country in the second half. They made adjustments, and just like we used to do back in the day, we'll take our best athletes. If we're having trouble, Milton made the adjustment in the second half. They put their big 6'4", 6'5" wide receiver on Gleaton in the second half, and he shut down Gleaton, and the big plays for Langston Hughes were over with. And that was the difference in the game, in my opinion. Gleaton got shut down, no more big plays, and Milton continued to make the big plays, and that was the difference in the game in the second half. But a great game on both sides. Shout out to both coaches, man. It was an amazing game, and great overall great game for the state of Georgia by far.
Yeah, no doubt. And an electronic performance really by both teams. Like I said, again, it really was Langston Hughes was able in that first half to really be able to exchange big plays. Because that was really the whole thing in that first half. Each team, hitting multiple plays of over 20 yards. And what Langston Hughes really did is that they ran the ball very effectively in that first half. Their running back number 9, I can't call his name right now, but he had 3 touchdowns in the first half. Their quarterback consistently picked up third downs, kept the chains moving, and for a while there, they were able to effectively play action fake off of that run, and it really had Milton off balance. And after going down 35-21 in that game, they came back, tied the score late in the half, less than 2 minutes to go. And I thought to myself, okay, they've done all they need to do.
Right.
They tied the game up. And then Nichols showed why he is one of the top-rated quarterbacks in the country. Matriculated the team down the field in about 4 plays in about a minute, including a touchdown pass to literally a wide open wide receiver. I couldn't understand what happened there. And I think that play, along with, to me, an ill-advised fake punt attempt early in on I think it was the first drive that Langston Hughes had. I think those two plays pretty much cost Langston Hughes any ability to win the game. But like I said, great ball game. Big shout out to the folks over at Milton for continuing their dominance. And speaking of dominance, another team that we thought was going to put on a dominant performance, having the #1 quarterback recruit in the nation, Juju Lewis. I'm talking about the Carrollton team from up north. They ran into another northern team that has been a consistent contender in the state playoffs. I'm talking about Grayson. And Grayson said, we don't know about Juju, but we got the Juju, as they went ahead and shut down Carrollton to win the state championship 38-24, sacking Juju Lewis 5 times, getting a forced fumble, and just a dominant performance by the Grayson High School football team.
Yeah. And one last thing about that Milton game before we move on real quickly. I was impressed by both coaches and the assistant coaches, because you saw it all game long. The minute those young men were coming off the field, they were getting them to the sideline and coaching them up. I'm talking about like, immediately they were over there talking about what just happened and how they were going to fix it. And that's what I appreciate. And the body language of both those teams, they never got down. Langston Hughes was down big early, and those guys fought back. So that's the kind of character we love to see displayed. When you do not give up, you put forth maximum effort, no matter what the odds are against you, and you play to that clock's hit 0-0-0. So now on the Grayson Carrollton game, yes, Juju Lewis, one of the top recruits in the country, if not the top recruit in the country, got all the hype coming into the game. Deservedly so. The young man is outstanding, and he's on his way to Colorado, if not already in Colorado right now, getting ready to handle the bowl game practices. So that alone put some emphasis on his game because he got so much hype. But the big story to me, Jonathan, in this whole thing, because both teams played a great game, and what Grayson did was get Juju off his spot. They did not allow him to be comfortable in that pocket. He's a throw. People think he's a dual threat quarterback, which he can do that, but he's a pocket passer. He's really a passer. And so they got him off his mark. And this young man was not able to make the plays that he normally makes in crunch time. And he threw 2 interceptions because Grayson was putting pressure on him all night long. And I think that was the difference in the game. Now, I want to point this out because I am amazed, impressed, and very excited about the future of this young coaching phenom and Coach Santavius Bryant. He is 30 years old, Jonathan. 30 years old, and he's the head coach of a major football program in the state of Georgia.
That's saying something, sir.
I don't know if a lot of people know this, Jonathan, but this young man got the head coaching job when he was 28. Yeah, he's been there. He came back in 2022. And now he's in the state championship at 30 years old. I can't even imagine, because I look back at 30 years old, Jonathan, and I'm like, hey, man, I don't know if I'm ready for a head coaching job of a major football program at 30 years old. But this young man is, and he's doing a great job. So I want to shout out Coach Santavius Bryant, the Grayson Rams, on a great job, and congratulations, young man. And definitely shout out to the Carrollton program, because we all know what that is. That's a powerhouse program down there. And they'll be right back, because I'm sure they have somebody wait. I don't know who the next quarterback is, but I'm sure they got somebody waiting in the wings to come in and handle their business. Or as we've seen in high school football these days across the country, somebody will be moving in this spring or summer.
There's no doubt about it, man. You actually have a lot of even recruiting now at the high school football level. So, yeah, man, it's going to be, like you said, a continuation of what they've had for a long time. Carrollton has really been very impressive, as been Grayson. I mean, Grayson just hasn't had the number of state titles because they've always seemed to get bumped off by a Milton or a team of that level when they get to semifinals or finals. So, again, congratulations to Coach and all the guys they have doing the big things up there at Grayson. Well, we're going to do this. We're going to take a quick break in the action, but when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the initial 12-team college football playoff, the game we saw last night, what we think might happen going forward today with 2 more big games. And, of course, we would be remiss being here in Atlanta not to talk about a change in the status of QB1 for the Atlanta Falcons, it does appear that we have the beginning of the Michael Penix era. You listen to the Real Talk Sports Show, Saturday Sports Update. Keep it locked right here for more great sports talk.
Looking for a vehicle? Come to Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We're a family-owned dealership that's been serving the Atlanta area for over 40 years, offering an unbeatable selection of new Fords, Lincolns, and pre-owned vehicles. Enjoy our exceptional customer service and great financing options tailored just for you. Visit us at 6790 Mount Zion Boulevard in Morrow, Georgia, located just 20 minutes from downtown Atlanta. Call us at 678-364-3979 or visit online at allenvigilford.net.
Congratulations, Amici, on your new F-250 that you got from us. How was your experience here at Allen Vigil Ford?
Thank you so much, Jonathan, man. I appreciate everything you did for me, man. This is awesome right here. And you did, I mean, your service is impeccable, man. I really appreciate everything you did for me.
Appreciate you, man. Congratulations. And
There you go, straight from the horse's mouth of one of our clients. Mr. Michi runs a HVAC company here in Atlanta. So again, if you need a vehicle for yourself or for your business or for your family, give me a call, 678-364-3979, and we'll help you. Matter of fact, if you want to come on down today, you can see I'm in the office.
That's right.
So you call, come on down, and we'll take good care of you. Well, last night, Barry, again, we had the beginning of the brand new college football playoffs, and we saw the Notre Dame Fighting Irish team that is legendary in terms of their brand against a newbie. The Indiana Hoosiers, a team normally known for their basketball. But last night in the Battle of Indiana, so to speak, Notre Dame showed why they're one of the top-ranked teams in the country. Their winning game was impeccable, including, how about this to start the playoffs, a 98-yard touchdown run, which to me, that kind of was the end of the game right there.
Yeah, definitely, man. Shout out to Coach Freeman, the whole Notre Dame family up there. Everybody knows the history of Notre Dame, man. 11 national championships, the Golden Dome, touchdown Jesus. You know, hey, man, college football, you got to speak about Notre Dame, and that's why they're the only team in the country that with their own TV contract. They don't play in a conference per se, even though all their other teams are in the ACC. And I think they have to play 5 ACC teams a year. So shout out to Notre Dame. They showed their power. And let's face it, Jonathan, everybody was questioning who Indiana was, who Indiana is, and they're just not ready for the big stage yet. Now, that coach that came from James Madison, hey, he's on his way. He's going to get some players over there in Indiana, but they're not quite ready yet. And we saw that against Ohio State. So I wasn't quite sure if they were going to make it to the playoffs, and I don't even really know if they deserve to be in. However, they got in. They got smashed again by a perennial powerhouse team, and that's it. But I think that coach, he did a great job at James Madison. Look, he already broke the school win record at Indiana, which is, I mean, it's not saying much per se because they just been terrible for so long. However, he did it. 11 wins. I mean, what's that? Yeah, 11 wins. And now that program is off to a great start. And the Big Ten, hey, they may have another powerhouse program in the making at Indiana. So shout out to Coach Freeman. I expected Notre Dame to win the game, and they did it. And now Indiana, they can go back, look at what they did against Notre Dame and Ohio State. And like most great programs do, we saw it with Michigan a couple of years ago when they, were getting blown out by Georgia a couple of times. They said, hey, wait a minute. I got to get some players in here who can compete with the big dogs. And that's what I expect Indiana to do. And we'll see what happens up there with that program.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, when you look at that game last night, like I said again, it really Notre Dame set the pace, 98-yard run right out the box. Their defense was dominant against Indiana first half, holding them to just 3 points, and that really kind of was the story. So even though the final score is 27-17, it really wasn't close for most of the game. Indiana had 2 scores late to kind of make it visually look good, but Notre Dame was just dominant, especially on the ground. And speaking of the ground, we talk about Jeremiah Love, his big run, but to the credit of Indiana, after that, he really wasn't that effective. After that 98-yard run, he only totaled up 108 yards for the entire game. So that means the rest of the time he was really averaging about 1 yard a carry. So
Right.
keep it real.
Right.
So at the end of the day, this Notre Dame team, I get it. They have the brand name. I understand they have the record, but I go by the eye test. I had the opportunity to see them right here in Atlanta when they squared up against Georgia Tech and Mercedes-Benz. Now, Georgia Tech is a team that, had it not been for the injury to their quarterback, they might have had a shot to get to the playoffs, because this is a team down the stretch, especially as we saw in this game against Georgia, last game of the season. This is a team to be reckoned with. And when I watched them against Notre Dame, the takeaway I got from Notre Dame was, but they didn't impress me as a top 5 team, maybe a top 20 team, but
Yeah.
I just didn't see it. They really don't have a good passing attack, even though Riley Leonard was very efficient last night, 23 of 32, 1 touchdown interception, but it was only for 203 yards. He runs the ball quite frequently. He's a guy that moves the chains at quarterback position, 11 carries for 30 yards. But again, I'm not that impressed. And I think that when they run against the Bulldogs in the Sugar Bowl, it could be a double-digit loss for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I mean, the Bulldogs are sitting over there like, hey, listen, I'm a Georgia Tech fan, so shout out to the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. They get ready for their bowl game next week. Hey, Jonathan, no doubt about it. Notre Dame is about to see something they hadn't seen all season.
Right.
They play Georgia. That's the bottom line. And and what you saw, Notre Dame, you're absolutely right. If Haynes King plays against Notre Dame, that game is totally different. By far.
Completely different. Yep.
Totally different. And Georgia Tech season is totally different as far as they probably have at least 2 less losses, or 2. Let's look at it in a more positive way. They would have 2 more wins if he played the whole season. That injury really cost him a great season. However, I'll be very interested to see what they do in the bowl game. They finished 8-5, and Georgia Tech will have a pretty good season going into next year, and that's what I'm looking forward on the Georgia Tech side. However, let's jump back to Notre Dame. You're right. They are probably a better top 20 team, maybe in that anywhere from 10 to 15 range, I would think, versus a top 5 team. But hey, that's what's great about college football. The new 12-team playoff gives you a chance to go prove that you're a top 5 team. And that's what I'm looking forward to see Notre Dame against Georgia. Georgia would not be happy. I don't think Carson Beck is going to play. So Gunnar Stockton gets a chance to show that he's the man, which is he's a high school legend down here in the state of Georgia. So he gets a chance to play, which is his dream. And now Notre Dame has a chance to prove they're a big dog, like they claim to be all these years. So hey, let's see what happens when they run into let's just face it, Georgia's the top. I mean, they still the top program in the country, in my opinion. Since what they've done in the last 4 years, been unbelievable. So let's see what happens against the Bulldogs, and then we can say, okay, Notre Dame, you're back.
Well, like I said again, I'm not gonna debate whether they're back or not, because certainly they have been a very good team over these last, basically go back 10 years, all the way back when they got to the championship game against Alabama that year, where many people felt that Georgia could have won. If we remember that
Yes.
loss where Georgia could not get in, ran out of time against Alabama in the SEC championship game, which of course will propel them into the game. And of course, Notre Dame, if you listen to some podcasts, Monte Teo, with a great linebacker from the Notre Dame, he said when Alabama came out of the tunnel, and he said, we knew we were in trouble because
That's right.
they were bigger, they looked hungrier, and at the end of the day, he said, we knew right then and there we're in a different league. So, but like I said, again, to their credit, they have been back in the national picture for the last 10 years. So, kudos to Notre Dame by bringing that brand back, a team that really has not won their last championship since 1988. was the last time Notre Dame won a national title. So, like I said, kudos to them to keeping themselves in the mix. And, you know, it should be very interesting the rest of these playoffs here. And I think what's going to be interesting is what's going to happen next year when they look at the idea of giving a bye to the champions of the Big Four leagues. Because no disrespect, and certainly had Colorado won this, maybe I wouldn't be saying this, but I guess because I haven't seen Arizona State, the fact that they're hosting an opening round game, yeah, I mean, I don't know. But anyway.
Listen, hey, Jonathan, let me say this, man. I'm telling you right now. Now, I talked about Coach Bryant here in the state of Georgia at Grayson. That's at the high school level. Arizona State did the same thing at the college level. That kid is like 30-something, what is he, 38 or something like that? He might be younger than that, Jonathan, but he's 30-something years old, and he has that program in the college football playoffs. And hey, do not be shocked at what happens at Arizona State. Let me just say that. I saw him play one time this year. He had that team believing. That kid grew up right around the corner from Arizona State. I think he still lives like 15 minutes away. Hey, that kid wants it bad for his alma mater. Oh, I ain't gonna call him a kid. That young man wants it bad for his alma mater. And he's putting in the work, man. I saw him in an interview maybe about 2 weeks ago, and I was shocked how poised he was. However, I loved his energy, and that energy has propelled them, and his players play like that. And that running back they got, Scooter Boot, I can't pronounce his name, but man, that running back dude they have, listen, that young man, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing him playing these playoffs. Man, they playing some great football out there in Arizona State. Yes,
we're going to see what's up. But speaking of some great football, we're going to see what's up here as because a transition. We now have, like I mentioned, the beginning of the Michael Penix era is coming here to Atlanta. Kirk Cousins, it seems like he's like a golfer that has the yips. Nobody knows what's happened to him. Nobody's quite sure, but he lost something on the fastball, and he went from this elite processor to a guy that seemed to not know where to put the ball. And I really say couldn't put the ball. I mean, I saw him short on balls. Most of his plays were really checkdowns. And really seemed to me after the two games where he had his best two games of the year, which was the overtime win over Tampa Bay and then the win out in New Orleans, I think that he threw his arm out. I think he must have thrown the ball about 80 times between those two games. And so after that, he was no more good.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's an interesting situation, man. A lot of people question the contract from the beginning. Like I said on your show, on the Tuesday night show before, hey, man, he's never been the most athletic quarterback. Let's get that straight. Then you're talking about he's up in age in football terms, and then he's coming back from an injury. So I don't even know what we were supposed to expect from this guy this year. I didn't expect much from him, and now it is played out like that. And I'm very happy that they're at least about to give Penix an opportunity to show what he can do, and I hope it propels the Falcons to the playoffs. But Penix is a rookie, so what do we expect from him? He's a rookie. So now we're in a very interesting situation here where if he doesn't play well, it's over for the Falcons. And do we sit there at 7-10 again, which is what we were under Arthur Smith? So we're in a very interesting place. And I hope this kid plays well. I hope Penix plays well so that now we can move on from Kirk Cousins, give him his retirement money, and say, Kirk, thank you for your service in the NFL.
Yeah, so the whole idea about Penix being a rookie, I mean, it really kind of depends on who you are as a rookie. Let's take a look in the AFC. We have a guy, a lot of people question why was he drafted as high as he was. But look at Bo Nix and what he's did for Denver.
Yes, sir.
Guys won Rookie of the Year. Actually, shockingly, beat out another guy in the NFC, which is about to be seen shortly. Jaden Daniels, the guy who's lit it up as a rookie.
Absolutely. Yeah, both of them are playing very well. Yeah.
And if you think about it, a lot of people felt that, especially before the national title game, that Michael Penix Jr. was at least a good a prospect as Jaden Daniels. They had him in that top 3 along with the young man from that went on to Drake Mays that went to and Caleb Williams. So
Caleb Williams, Drake May, yes, sir.
We've seen that Caleb Williams has done well, and we've also seen that Jaden Daniels has done well. But before we get off the air, we want to go to social media here. We got John Robert. I think I got it right. John is saying, do you think Kirk Cousins will be there next season? Barry, let you answer that one real quick, and then we'll try to get it wrapped up.
Hey, John, thank you for your question. Because of the contract, most likely he will be there. However, Arthur Blank may choose to eat that money and get him out of there. It all depends on how well Penix plays. That's the key to the situation. And I pray that Penix plays very well. So that's my answer to that question. Yes. However, they could eat the money if Penix plays very well these last 3 games and gets us to the playoffs.
We'll give a real quick sign off to the people of WIGO. If you guys are still listening, thank you so much for tuning in, and we appreciate you, and God bless you. Have a great rest of the day. All right, we're going to lock it up. Give it about 5 more minutes of overtime here on social media. Yeah, man, at the end of the day, it's like this. And I'm going to talk about this maybe next week. It's Christmas Eve. I might talk about this or maybe sometime during the week. Here's what I really think. I think that I hate to say this because when he first bought the team, and I remember he was the president of the Metro Atlanta Chamber of Commerce, the Falcons used to have something called the Falcons Luncheon, where they opened up the Georgia Dome. They put 100 tables down there, and you paid back then about $40. And they actually did a whole presentation about where the Falcons were as a team. You got a chance to meet some of the players. You got a chance to meet the executive staff, guys like, Rich McKay. As a matter of fact, that's when I got a chance to see McKay's Super Bowl win that he won back in Tampa Bay. And people forget when the Falcons changed ownership to Arthur Blank, and when they got Michael Vick, the whole marketing pitch was to make going to a Falcons game like going to a college game. So they revived the tailgating. And at that time, the Gulch was nowhere near as clean as it is now. This is when you had homeless people all around, broken glass and bottles. I was saying, who's going to do that? But they brought that energy. And, certainly when Michael Vick was pre-jail situation, the Falcons were must-see TV. The energy that was there was unbelievable. However, I think that Arthur Blank has begun to meddle with the Falcons behind the scenes, has actually hindered his management team, because this is what I believe. After that Super Bowl loss, he was like, I'm getting to a Super Bowl no matter what. I believe he got too involved. Number one, I don't think the management team at all wanted to get involved with Deshaun Watson. I don't think so. I think that was a heavy pressure by Arthur Blank. Matter of fact, it came out. It was everywhere. It was a badly kept secret that Arthur Blank said, "Go get me Deshaun Watson."
Wow.
And they basically were bidding against themselves. That's why the contract numbers kept going higher and higher and higher. And then Cleveland did the unthinkable and gave the guy $240 million guaranteed.
Right. Yeah.
And of course, we know the scandal that came afterwards. But what that did was it botched up the transition that management had anticipated with having Ryan his last year, Desmond Ridder really be able to sit behind Matt Ryan without any pressure, seeing how that offense should be run. And then, as we saw, which he did do pretty good, having a Kyle Pitts there for Ryan to have that kind of safety valve, because we know by that time Ryan couldn't move too well, and having a running tack with Tyler Algiers that would give him kind of what he had back in the day when he had Michael Turner, and then turn over the range to a Desmond Ridder who was a more mobile quarterback.
Right.
No difference in arm strength, but certainly a bit more mobile. Once they didn't do that, now you put the Falcons in a situation where they got Desmond Ridder, who clearly had not grasped Arthur Smith's offense at all. Okay.
Right.
And put him into a position where he wasn't ready to start.
Right.
Which wrecked his confidence, I believe.
Yes,
okay, getting out of the game. I think it kind of disrupted him and did that. And then fast forward, after you have that disaster, Arthur Blank gets back involved again and says, okay, we're a quarterback away. Who's the best option? Get us Kirk Cousins. And once again, Falcons bidding against themselves give this man a massive contract. Now, I think what management saw was, hey, this guy's 36 off an Achilles. We need a backup plan.
Correct.
So they went and got Michael Penix. And I kind of put the spin on it about this, that, and other thing. But I believe that they saw potentially what we're seeing right now, that Kirk could run out of gas or not be what we thought. And once again, we'd be sitting here with no options at quarterback. So that's what we see. So I think Michael Penix is going to do well, because here's the thing, bro. I mean, unless we have a repeat of what we saw last year when we saw Desmond Ridder, we said, you know, we got to have an improvement in Heineken, and Heineken didn't do anything. I just think how bad, you know, you couldn't have worse quarterback play than this.
No. I mean, you're absolutely right, Jonathan. It can't. The only way it gets worse if he plays like Kirk Cousins and nobody's anticipating that. So, because at least he can run. See, that's the difference. That's what I was saying on the show before. He's non-athletic. So what do you expect a non-athletic quarterback coming off of injury, Achilles injury at that, and you're at the age you are sports-wise? Hey man, it's a no-go for me. I would not have done that deal. And you mentioned something that's critical about the quarterback situation with Pitts and Desmond Ridder. The time to draft a quarterback was when Justin Fields was available. That was the pick where I think we missed. We took Pitts instead of Fields, and I think that's what caused the problem we currently see. Because Ridder was never a highly considered prospect. That's why he went in the third round. And we might have drafted him too early then. So, and if you look at his record as a starting quarterback, he's 8-10. You know, we just beat him the other night. The Falcons just beat him the other night when he was starting for the Raiders. So his record is 8-10, and all of us know we've seen quarterbacks start their career with way worse records than that. So the Falcons did not do Desmond Ridder any favors when they set him up, which I believe, like you said, they set him up, and the kid lost his confidence, and that's it. It's you know, he may be a backup for the rest of his career. So, hey, Michael Penix, if you're listening or you see this video somehow, some way, brother, we're pulling for you.
Yes, we are.
We want you to succeed. And, man, we want you to take the Atlanta Falcons to the promised land. And, hey, and here, how about this? Jonathan, you mentioned Michael Vick. Shout out to Michael Vick at Norfolk State. Hey, Michael Vick, go handle your business up there, my brother, and do your thing. And listen, we got another lefty, baby. We got another lefty coming in the building. So, hey, we never know what's going to happen. But the last time we had a left-handed quarterback in Atlanta, hey, we had some exciting times, and he did get us to an NFC Championship game. And I'm going to say this: I love Bob Whitfield. I met Bob Whitfield several times throughout the music industry situations I was in back in the day. So he's a great guy. But Bob, you held on that play and cost us the Super Bowl, Bob. And if Bob Whitfield don't get called for holding, we go to the Super Bowl.
Oh, no doubt.
You never know what happens. So, hey, shout out to Michael Penix. Shout out to Michael Vick. Shout out to Bob Whitfield. Hey, let's go Falcons. Let's start doing the Dirty Bird dance again.
Yeah, man, I think the Falcons are going to do very well with Michael Penix. I mean, one of the things I told you about it, I saw with the young man, and I saw it, like I said, when he was at Washington. You know, everybody talks about arm talent. Well, this guy's got it. The ball comes off of his hand, bro. It's a different throw. Even if you watch him in preseason and in the 2 games we played mop-up duty, that ball comes out of his hand with some authority, sir. A lot of zip. The only danger you're going to worry about a guy like him is that will he overestimate his arm talent and put the ball in harm's way in these tight windows in the NFL. Other than that, man, I mean, the ball just comes out. Now, I need to check and see if he's available or not. But this is a guy, you know, you talk about chemistry. I got to check and see if, in fact, Casey Washington, the young man they drafted, I think in the 4th round, it seemed to me in the preseason, him and Penix had a great chemistry. I don't know if he's back from I don't know if he's back from injury yet, but it would be a great asset if that young man can get on the field. But I think he might be out for the season. I'm going to double check it here and just see the injury report here. Yeah, he's still out, unfortunately, in the concussion protocol, so he will not be in this game.
Okay.
Hopefully, he will be able to return. Because, like I said again, he had great chemistry with Michael Penix. And the other thing I'll say here, last but not least, I like Kirk Cousins, great guy. He was NFL Man of the Year a couple of years ago. I think the guy's
great guy.
Listen, I think this guy's gonna be a preacher because I saw him in his acceptance speech, and man, that Holy Ghost got in Kirk, and they were like, "Okay, Kirk, we gotta get you off the stairs," but he's getting that scripture, and he was rocking and rolling.
Okay.
Right,
Shout out,
yes.
shout out to Gospel Kirk. How about
Yes,
that?
sir. Yes, sir. But at the end of the day, you could tell the wheels were coming off because Kirk has always been a very team-oriented, cordial guy, and you could tell after that loss in Minnesota, it definitely affected him because he started speaking in a way of a guy that knew that his tenure might be coming to an end. Because when they talked about the game, he said, "Well, when I came back," he said, "when I left, it was 21-21. When I came back, next year it was 35-21." Those are kind of comments that we had not heard from Kirk. The idea, also the statements about Kyle Pitts saying, "Hey, if the guy works hard and runs the routes, he'll get the ball." So all these kind of statements were letting me know that that there was beginning some problems even then. And then, last but not least, like I said again, just him short arming, and to me, what kind of again was the beginning of the end in the game against the Chargers. If you remember, he short armed 2 potential touchdown passes that could have gave the Falcons a win. Right. I just think, like I said again, I just think the guy's arm went dead, and he began to get the yips. And there was this constant chatter about guys not running their routes properly. And once you have that kind of buzz, I don't care what you say, "Oh, we keep everything in the building." Right. The fact that was getting out, that there was some discontent about route running, guys being confused. I just said to myself, "Hey," I said, and then last but not least, as we wrap it up,
yes, sir.
I just think, man, that the Falcons coaching staff, these guys being new, it took them a long time to kind of figure out what to do. And I still think on the offense coordinator end, I just think that the young man doesn't really know how to utilize his personnel properly. Now, again, keep in mind this. There were several times when we watched replays that guys were open where Kirk either didn't see him because he was in a panic or he underthrew them. So I don't want to take completely away, but somebody would line if they're saying Kirk was completely healthy and you're running a guy who is primarily a play action guru and put him in a pistol where the play action is virtually ineffective. And the fact that they kept him in that pistol constantly, to me, was like either A, Kirk can't move, or these guys don't know how to use the guy properly. So I don't know. Either way, it's going to be very interesting here. I think it's going to be a big buzz in the stadium. And I got to tell you, if Michael Penix puts up these types of numbers around in this area, I say somewhere around 19 for 27. Maybe get him around 250, couple of touchdowns. Oh man, it's gonna be.
Oh man, hey man, the stadium's gonna go crazy. The city of Atlanta's gonna go crazy, and I hope it happens. Well, let me say this in closing.
Yes, sir.
Listen, Kirk Cousins lost his confidence,
right?
And it's been a question about Pitt's route running for a long time. So I think it's a combination of everything you said with the new offensive coordinator, Kirk Cousins' injury, because they always say it takes a year. Like you come back, that first year you might not be right. The only person we've really seen do it in a major way, come back from a major injury and just explode, was Adrian Peterson. Other than that, you're looking at players like, they're not quite right yet. And then that following year, they're ready. So that's why, to John's question, will Kirk Cousins be on the team next year? Most likely, yes. But his starting position and what he does, that's going to be all upon Michael Penix and how he plays these last couple of games, and hopefully going into the playoffs. So we'll see, man. But great comments by you, and I think you're dead on with that. Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, Mr. Blank will keep himself from in the meddling process, keep out of that, and let.
That's all I can do. That's all. Social media is a monster, man.
There it
Jonathan, you listen. The reason stuff cannot stay in the building these days in any place is social media, man. So let me say this to all the young people and coaches and parents and the whole nine. Listen, social media is made for communication and sharing great things and being connected with your family, friends, co-workers, or what have you, right? We've turned social media into this place where we're supposed to air all our dirty laundry and using social media as a therapy session.
Yes,
I don't necessarily agree with that. Let's use it in a positive manner and sharing great things and positive things and sharing ideas and creativity and let's help the world move forward in a much better way than all the negative ways. Because we get enough of that. We're gonna get that because that's just what it is, and that's what people thrive in. It seems to be for a lot of people. However, we have a choice. We can dwell in negativity, or we can actually move, love, and be in happiness and love. And that's what I choose to do, man. And I encourage everybody to move that way so we can see a better place. So let's use social media responsibly. And let's use social media in a positive way. And if we need therapy, I believe in therapy. Hey, let's go seek professional therapy, or at least consult with some good positive people like the minister Jonathan Simmons.
Get some help, but get off social media.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Well, look, Barry, you know how we do it. We like to let people know how they can find out more about our guests before they leave the air. So, Mr. Barry Brown, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Well, again, it's been an honor and pleasure to be on the show, Real Talk Sports. I always check out Mr. Jonathan Simmons, and shout out to Allen Vigil Ford. Hey, I'm a product of Allen Vigil Ford because they supported and sponsored a lot of Morrow Mustang football over the years. So I'm talking about going back to the 80s. So shout out to Allen Vigil Ford. And hey, we are Youth Education and Sports. We are the program that allows student athletes to be who they are when we meet them, and we help them develop into the people and the outstanding people they're destined to be through our student athlete achievement program. So we believe in vision, we believe in goals, we believe in positive habits, we believe in absolute focus, and we believe in putting forth maximum effort, and that's work ethic. So, hey, we are the Student Athlete Achievement Program with Youth Education and Sports, and our materials are the Student Athlete Playbook, the Student Athlete Playbook Journal, and the Student Athlete Playbook Facilitator's Guide, available via Amazon and locally, Madu Bookstore, Green Brown Mall, and Nubian Books out in the South Lake Morrow area, the #1 book for youth student athletes. Put it under the tree for your student athlete this Christmas. Thank you, Mr. Jonathan Simmons and Real Talk Sports and Allen Vigil Ford.
There you go. That's from Mr. Barry Brown. Well, guys, before the minister gets off the air, I want to encourage you, if you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, please, man, please circuit the home today. And what better time to do it? Christmas season, when we celebrate his birth, but more importantly here, his death and resurrection were the key. And what that means now, if you believe in him, repent of your sins, two great things happen. #1, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And #2, an adopted child of God with all the rights therein. That means you now can go to God like a heavenly parent, ask him for anything you need or desire, and according to his will, he'll give it to you. And #2, when you die, you go to a happy place called heaven, where there's none of the following: no pain, no pandemic, no bad people anywhere. You never get old, you never die, you never cry. And you now get a chance to be with God, Jesus Christ, and all the people of love forever and ever. And you avoid that nasty place called hell. All the things I just mentioned won't be there. It's dark, it's dreary, it's fiery, and you're stuck with the devil, his demonic hosts, and all the most evil people ever to live on the earth. I don't know about you, but I like option #1 instead of option #2. All right, guys, until next time we get back together again, you know how we do it. We simply say God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of the day or evening, whichever may apply. So long, and take care.